Have you ever stopped to think about what you say after the words, I am? Most people don't. They throw words around without realizing that every I am statement is a command, an instruction, a decree to the universe. Right now, without even thinking, you may be destroying your own life with this simple phrase, not because you intend to, but because you don't realize that the words you attach to I am are sculpting your identity, defining your self-concept and solidifying the reality you wake up to every single day. What if I told you that everything you are experiencing, your struggles, your successes, your limitations, your breakthroughs, can be traced back to the I am statements you have accepted as truth? This isn't just philosophy, it's not just some vague law of attraction idea. This is ancient wisdom, deeply embedded in spiritual teachings and now even backed by science. Your subconscious mind does not argue, it does not question, it simply accepts whatever follows I am as a command and shapes your reality accordingly. Neville Goddard taught that I am is the most powerful force in the universe. He wasn't speaking metaphorically. He understood that when you declare I am, you are setting into motion an energy so precise, so creative, that reality has no choice but to conform. And yet, most people carelessly say things like, I am tired, I am unlucky, I am not good enough, without realizing that these statements are not just observations. They are instructions, they are laws, they are shaping every aspect of your existence. Think about the way you speak to yourself every day. When things don't go as planned, do you say, I am so stupid, I am such a failure, I am always struggling? If you do, you have unknowingly been reinforcing these ideas as your identity, and once something becomes part of your identity, it becomes nearly impossible to escape. The subconscious mind is designed to prove you right. If you keep saying, I am broke, your mind will filter reality to make that statement true. If you keep saying, I am not lucky in love, your mind will ensure that no matter how many opportunities come your way, you sabotage them, miss them, or unconsciously reject them. This is why Neville warned that we must guard our inner speech, because every I am is a seed planted in the soil of the subconscious. And what you plant, you will harvest. The problem is most people have been planting the wrong seeds their entire lives. They were conditioned to do so. From childhood, you were taught what to believe about yourself. You heard your parents say, I am struggling, I am sick, I am not smart, and without realizing it, you adopted those identities as your own. You absorbed those limitations without ever questioning them, and now, as an adult, you speak them into existence without a second thought. But here's the truth they never told you. Just as words can destroy, they can also create. Just as the wrong I am can trap you in limitation, the right I am can set you free. The key is understanding that your mind is neutral. It is not working against you. It is simply following the program you give it. If you shift the program, you shift the reality. This is why Neville said that assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The moment you assume something new, the moment you declare a new identity with I am, the subconscious begins to align everything to make it true. But most people don't persist. They say, I am successful, and when they don't see proof right away, they revert back to old patterns. They say, I am loved, but when they feel lonely, they go back to I am unworthy. This is where people fail. They react to the external world instead of holding firm to their inner reality. The secret is not reacting. The secret is holding your I am as an unchangeable truth until reality bends to match it. You must understand that the words you speak are not descriptions of what is. They are blueprints of what will be. If you say, I am exhausted, you are not just describing a feeling, you are commanding your body to align with that exhaustion. If you say, I am never lucky, you are not just making a passing comment. You are declaring a law that your subconscious must obey. But if you flip the script, if you say, I am strong, I am abundant, I am unstoppable, and you say it with conviction, reality begins shifting in your favor. Neville understood this when he taught the concept of living in the end. He did not mean simply hoping or wishing for a better future. He meant embodying the reality you want as if it already exists. When you say, I am wealthy, you are not waiting for the bank account to confirm it. You are declaring it now, feeling it now, living in that energy now, and by law, reality must shape itself to fit that new assumption. Your life is a reflection of what you have been declaring. If you want to change your life, change your declarations. If you want to break free from limitation, break free from old I am statements that no longer serve you. Stop reinforcing an identity you no longer wish to carry. Stop claiming struggle. Stop claiming failure. Stop claiming hardship as if it is your permanent truth. It is not. It never was. You are simply repeating old patterns. Now is the time to take control. Start becoming conscious of how you speak about yourself. When you catch yourself saying, I am overwhelmed, pause, shift. Say, I am powerful. When you hear yourself say, I am unlucky, stop. Replace it with, I am divinely guided. When you feel tempted to say, I am not good enough, remind yourself, I am limitless. At first it may feel unnatural. At first your mind may resist, but this is simply the old programming trying to hold on. The more you persist, the more your subconscious begins to accept the new identity. And once that happens, reality follows. This is why the most important commitment you can make is to watch your words. Speak only what you wish to become. Declare only what you wish to experience. If you wouldn't want it to be true, don't say it. Not even as a joke, not even casually. Because the subconscious does not know the difference. It only knows repetition. So let this be the moment where you reclaim your power. Let this be the moment where you rewrite the script. From now on, let every I am be intentional. Let every I am be a declaration of the reality you choose to experience. Because once you align your words with your desires, once you persist in the new assumption, once you claim it as truth before the world confirms it, everything will change. And the best part, the universe has no choice but to say yes, so it is done. Your entire life has been shaped by the words you have attached to I am. Every success, every failure, every limitation, and every breakthrough has been a direct reflection of what you have declared yourself to be. And yet, most people move through life completely unaware of this truth. They speak without thinking, they declare without knowing, and they assume without questioning. They say things like, I am always tired, I am bad with money, I am not good at relationships, never realizing that each time they speak these words, they are giving them power. They are reinforcing an identity that keeps them trapped in the very circumstances they wish to escape. But what if I told you that at any moment you could rewrite the story, that nothing about who you are is fixed, and that the reality you are living right now is simply the result of past declarations? What if the struggle, the setbacks, the repeated patterns were not proof of limitation but simply proof of what you have unconsciously been affirming? Because here is the truth. Whatever you attach to I am, you become. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. This is the foundation of Neville Goddard's teachings. He understood that I am is not just a phrase, it is the creative force itself. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the spiritual and the material, the potential and the real. And the moment you claim something with I am, you set the wheels of creation into motion. The problem is, most people are not claiming what they actually want. They are claiming the very things they fear. They are claiming limitations they do not need to carry. They are speaking into existence a reality they do not want to live in. And it's not their fault. Most people have never been taught this. They have been raised in a world that conditions them to describe circumstances rather than declare transformation. They say, I am broke because they see their bank account is low. They say, I am unlucky because they have had past disappointments. They say, I am not worthy because they were told so as children. But what they don't realize is that they are locking these things into place by continuing to affirm them. They are reinforcing the cycle without even knowing it. But here is where everything changes. Because once you understand the power of I am, you can never again speak carelessly about yourself. You can never again declare limitations without knowing that you are the one keeping them alive. The moment you wake up to this truth, the moment you take responsibility for your words, your entire world shifts. And this is where your transformation begins. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the way you speak about yourself. How often do you say things like, I am stressed, I am not good at this, I am struggling, I am stuck? These statements may feel like harmless observations, but they are not. They are commands. They are instructions to your subconscious mind, which takes everything you say as truth and works to make it real. If you keep saying, "I am not lucky," your mind will filter out any opportunities that contradict that belief. If you say, "I am bad with money," you will continue to make financial decisions that reinforce that identity. If you say, "I am not good enough," you will sabotage yourself every time you get close to success. But the moment you shift your words, the moment you begin declaring a new reality, the momentum starts to change. This is not about lying to yourself. This is about speaking from the version of yourself you want to become. When you say, "I am powerful," "I am abundant," "I am successful," you are not just saying words. You are aligning your energy with a new reality. You are creating a new script, a new identity, a new frequency. And the more you persist in this new declaration, the more reality has no choice but to follow. This is why Neville Goddard taught the principle of living in the end. He understood that you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled before it manifests, not after, not once you see proof, but before. You must claim the identity now, in this moment, even if there is no external evidence, because external evidence is always a reflection of past assumptions. The shift happens inside first. The outside world is only catching up. But here's where most people fail. They try this for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. They say, "I am wealthy, I am loved, I am confident." But when they don't see immediate results, they go right back to old habits. They look at their circumstances and say, "See, it's not working." And the moment they do that, they reinforce the very reality they are trying to escape. The key is persistence. The key is to hold onto the new assumption no matter what, to refuse to react to the old reality, because the old reality is nothing more than the shadow of past thoughts. If you keep reacting to it, you will keep it alive. This is why the most powerful tool you have is non-reaction. When your mind tries to pull you back into doubt, you must stand firm. When circumstances seem to contradict your new declaration, you must remember that reality is a delayed mirror. What you see now is simply the result of who you were, not who you are becoming. If you want to see a different reflection, you must hold the new assumption long enough for it to take form. Every great transformation begins with identity. If you see yourself as a struggling person trying to be successful, you will always struggle. But the moment you claim, "I am successful," and truly believe it, the struggle dissolves. If you see yourself as someone who is unlucky in love, no amount of external effort will change that until you shift your internal story. But the moment you declare, "I am loved," and persist in that belief, love must appear in your life. Not because you are forcing it, not because you are chasing it, but because you have become the version of you who already has it. Your only job is to align with that version, to speak as if it is already true, to feel as if it is already done, to embody the state of being you wish to experience. Because once you do, everything changes. Opportunities arise. People show up. Circumstances shift in ways that seem impossible, but they are not impossible. They are the natural response to the frequency you have chosen. This is why the greatest secret to manifestation is not in effort, it is in identity. It is in knowing that what you say after "I am" is not just describing reality, it is creating it. If you want a new life, speak a new identity into existence. If you want to change your circumstances, change your assumptions. Speak only what you wish to become. Think only from the version of yourself that already has what you desire. Because once you do that, reality has no choice but to conform. So the question is, what have you been saying after "I am"? What identity have you been reinforcing? And more importantly, who are you ready to become? Because once you decide, once you claim it, once you persist in it, the shift is inevitable. You are always one declaration away from an entirely new reality. The only thing left is to choose. Everything you've ever believed about yourself has led you to this moment. Every thought, every emotion, every experience has been a reflection of the identity you have accepted. But here's what most people don't realize. The moment you change the words you attach to "I am," you change everything. Not just a little, not just over time, instantly. Because identity is not something you find, it is something you declare. Right now, without even thinking, you are creating your future self with the words you speak. Every time you say, I am, you are making a choice. You are either reinforcing the old version of yourself or stepping into something greater. The question is, which one are you choosing? Are you choosing to stay limited? Are you choosing to stay in lack? Are you choosing to reinforce a reality you no longer want? Or are you ready to step into the power that has always been waiting for you? Most people don't realize that their suffering is self-imposed, not because they want to suffer, but because they do not question the words they use. They say, I am struggling, as if it is a fact. They say, I am unlucky, as if it is a permanent state. They say, I am not enough, without realizing that they are the ones who have been making it true all along. Because reality is not fixed. It is fluid. It bends to match the consciousness that observes it. And if your consciousness is fixated on struggle, if your words are declaring limitation, then that is exactly what will continue to manifest. But just as easily as you have spoken limitations into existence, you can speak freedom into existence. Just as you have unknowingly created obstacles, you can create breakthroughs. Just as you have said, I am stuck, you can now say, I am unstoppable, and reality must adjust. This is not wishful thinking. This is how the universe works. This is why Neville Goddard taught that assumption hardens into fact. Because when you assume something to be true, when you declare it with certainty, when you refuse to accept anything less, the external world rearranges to match the internal decision. But here's where most people get trapped. They make the decision, but they don't persist. They say, I am successful, but when they don't see proof immediately, they go back to their old story. They say, I am wealthy, but when their bank account doesn't reflect it right away, they switch back to I am broke. And in doing so, they undo everything. They reinforce the old identity and wonder why nothing is changing. But the ones who truly transform, the ones who master their reality, they hold the new assumption no matter what. They do not react to the old. They do not look at their circumstances and allow them to dictate their beliefs. They understand that the world is always playing catch-up to what they have already decided internally. This is why Neville taught the power of living in the end. You do not wait for proof, you do not wait for validation, you assume it is done, you claim it now. Because the universe does not respond to waiting, it responds to certainty. It responds to the energy you hold. The moment you claim something with absolute conviction, the moment you say, I am this, and you refuse to waver, you collapse the timeline between where you are and where you want to be. But most people hesitate. They question, they doubt, they let the external world tell them what is possible instead of realizing that they are the ones defining what is possible. And that hesitation, that doubt, that fear, that is what keeps them locked in place. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is your willingness to believe in it before you see it, to embody it before you have evidence, to declare it, even when reality seems to suggest otherwise. Because the ones who understand this don't just hope for a better life. They step into it. They walk as if they already have it. They speak as if it is already true, and because of that it becomes true, not through force, not through effort, but through alignment. Every single moment you are given a choice, to declare what has been or to declare what will be, to reinforce the old story or to write a new one, to say I am limited or I am infinite, to say I am struggling or I am thriving, to say I am stuck or I am free, because the universe does not argue, it does not question, it simply says yes. Yes to whatever you believe, yes to whatever you assume, yes to whatever you declare. So ask yourself, what have you been saying yes to? What have you unknowingly claimed as your identity? And more importantly, what are you ready to claim now? Because the moment you decide, the moment you declare a new reality with full certainty, the shift happens, the momentum builds, the opportunities appear, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Not because the external world changed first, but because you did. This is the greatest secret of manifestation, that what you seek is not outside of you, It is not something you chase, it is something you become. And the moment you become it, the moment you embody it, the world will have no choice but to reflect it back to you. The only thing left to do is decide, right here, right now. Who are you? What reality are you stepping into? And what words will you use to define the rest of your life? Because whatever you say after I am is what you will live. Choose wisely. Everything you've ever told yourself, every word you've spoken after I am has shaped the life you are living right now. Whether you realize it or not, those words have built the foundation of your self-concept, your experiences, your opportunities, and your limitations. They have dictated what you allow, what you reject, what you believe is possible, and what you assume is impossible. And yet most people throw around I am statements as if they mean nothing. They say, I am tired, I am unlucky, I am not good enough, without a second thought, without ever questioning why life keeps reflecting those very ideas back to them. But the truth is, you are never just describing reality, you are creating it. And every time you attach something to I am, you are giving an instruction to your subconscious mind to make it real. Neville Goddard understood this. He taught that I am is not just a phrase. It is the very essence of creation. It is the divine power within you, the force that molds reality according to what you assume to be true. And the moment you understand this, you will never speak about yourself the same way again. You will never declare limitations without realizing that you are the one reinforcing them. You will never again say, I am not capable, without understanding that those very words are the reason you feel stuck. Because life is not happening to you. Life is responding to you. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you identify yourself is being mirrored back to you every second of every day. And yet, most people live unaware of this. They move through life reacting to their circumstances, not realizing that their circumstances are simply a reflection of what they have been saying, thinking, and assuming about themselves all along. They don't see that their struggles are not random, their patterns are not accidental, their limitations are not permanent. They were spoken into existence, and because they have been repeated so often, they have become familiar. And because they have become familiar, they feel true. But just because something feels true does not mean it has to remain true. The moment you declare something different, the moment you persist in a new assumption, the entire trajectory of your life changes. The mistake most people make is looking at what is and using that to determine what they believe about themselves. They say, I am struggling because they see lack in their lives. They say, I am not lucky because they have experienced disappointment. They say, I am stuck because they don't see a way out. But they don't realize that by declaring these things, they are making them more real. They are keeping themselves trapped, not because reality is against them, but because they keep reinforcing an identity that does not serve them. But just as words can trap you, they can also free you. Just as negative I am statements have created struggle, positive ones can create success. Just as you have unknowingly spoken limitations into existence, you can consciously speak abundance, confidence, love, and power into your reality. This is the secret that has been hidden in plain sight. The words you use are not just words. They are blueprints. They are instructions. They are setting the stage for everything you will experience next. And if you do not choose them carefully, you will continue to live in a reality that is shaped by old assumptions, by old fears, by old patterns that were never even yours to begin with. So now you have a choice. You can continue reinforcing the old story, or you can create a new one. You can continue saying, I am not good enough, or you can say, I am more than enough. You can continue saying, I am struggling, or you can say, I am powerful beyond measure. You can continue saying, I am stuck, or you can say, I am free. Because the truth is, the universe does not question you, it does not argue with you, it simply says yes. Yes to whatever you declare, yes to whatever you assume, yes to whatever you believe. This is why Neville taught that you must live in the end. You must not wait for proof. You must not wait for the world to confirm your new identity. You must assume it now. You must claim it now. You must say, I am successful even when there is no visible evidence. You must say, I am abundant, even when your bank account does not yet reflect it. You must say, I am loved, even when you feel alone. Because the external world is not the cause, it is the effect. The moment you shift internally, the external world follows. But most people give up too soon. They say, I am wealthy. And when they don't see immediate financial success, they return to, I am struggling. They say, I am healthy. But when they still feel symptoms, they go back to, I am sick. They say, I am confident, but when doubt creeps in, they default to, I am insecure. And in doing so, they undo everything. They reinforce the old story just as they were beginning to break free. But the ones who persist, the ones who refuse to go back, the ones who hold their new identity no matter what, they are the ones who shift. They are the ones who experience quantum leaps. They are the ones who wake up one day and realize that their entire world has changed, not because they worked harder, not because they forced anything, but because they aligned their consciousness with a new version of themselves. This is not about wishful thinking. This is not about ignoring reality. This is about recognizing that reality is never final. It is fluid, shifting, responding, always changing according to the frequency you hold. If you change your internal state, the world around you will have no choice but to match it. This is the law. This is the truth that has been passed down for centuries, hidden in religious texts, buried in spiritual teachings, whispered by the great minds who understood the power of consciousness. But now it is yours, and once you know this, you cannot unknow it. So the question is, who do you choose to be? What words will you attach to I am from this moment forward? What identity will you claim, not just for a day, not just for a week, but for life? Because whatever you choose, whatever you persist in, whatever you declare with absolute certainty, will become your experience. The universe is listening, your subconscious is recording, your reality is shifting, and right now you hold the pen, right now you decide the next chapter, right now you choose. Who are you? You are not just a person moving through life, reacting to circumstances, hoping things will change. You are the creator. You are the one who decides how this story unfolds. And the most powerful tool you have, the most sacred force in the entire universe, is the phrase, I am. Whatever you attach to these two words becomes your truth, your identity, your reality. Not because the universe is testing you, not because fate has some predetermined path for you, but because the nature of reality is to reflect the consciousness that observes it. And if your consciousness is filled with limitations, if your words reinforce struggle, if your identity is built upon past failures, then that is what life will continue to show you. But the moment you wake up to this truth, the moment you realize that I am is not just a description but a declaration, everything shifts. The moment you stop saying I am stuck and start saying I am evolving, the energy moves. The moment you stop saying I am struggling and start saying I am in control, opportunities open. The moment you stop saying I am not enough and start saying I am limitless, the universe responds in ways that will seem miraculous, but they are not miracles. They are simply the natural reflection of the new identity you have claimed. This is what Neville Goddard was trying to teach. He understood that reality is not separate from you. You are not at its mercy. You are shaping it in every moment. And most people do this unconsciously. They wake up and reaffirm the same stories. They say, I am tired, I am unlucky, I am always struggling with money, as if these statements are just facts. But they are not facts. They are choices. They are instructions being sent to the subconscious mind, which does not argue, does not question, does not filter. It simply accepts whatever you declare and shapes your reality to match. And this is why change feels so hard for most people. Not because they are incapable, not because they are cursed, not because they are unworthy, but because they have spent years reinforcing an identity they do not want, and they do not realize they are the ones keeping it alive. They think their struggles are happening to them, when in reality they are happening through them, through their words, through their thoughts, through the unquestioned assumptions that have been running in the background for years. But the moment you take control of your I am, you take control of your destiny. The moment you decide that you will no longer speak limitation over your life, that you will no longer reinforce an identity that does not serve you, that you will no longer claim anything you do not wish to be true, that is the moment everything begins to shift. And it does not take years. It does not require struggle. It only requires a decision to persist in a new assumption, to refuse to let old evidence pull you back, to refuse to let temporary circumstances shake your conviction. This is the part that most people get wrong. They make the decision, but then they check reality for proof. They say, I am wealthy, but then they look at their bank account and go right back to, I am struggling. They say, I am confident, but when doubt creeps in, they retreat to, I am insecure. They do not realize that by doing this, they are undoing everything. They are bouncing between two identities, never allowing the new one to take root. And this is why Neville taught persistence. The world will reflect your new assumption, but only if you hold it long enough. Only if you refuse to react to what was, and instead focus on what is becoming. Think about this. If your entire life has been built on certain words, on certain beliefs, on certain I am statements, then of course it will take time for those old structures to dissolve. Of course there will be moments where the old reality tries to pull you back. But those moments are not signs that it is not working. They are signs that it is. They are tests of your conviction, invitations to prove to yourself that you will not go back, that you will not speak words that contradict your new self. And the moment you pass that test, the shift becomes permanent. The new reality locks into place. The external world has no choice but to follow. So what have you been saying after I am? What identity have you unknowingly reinforced? What reality have you kept alive with your words? And more importantly, what will you choose to declare from this moment forward? Because the power has always been in your hands. You were never powerless. You were simply unaware. But now you know. And once you know, you cannot unknow. Once you realize that every I am is shaping your life, you cannot go back to speaking carelessly. You cannot go back to declaring things you do not want. You cannot go back to reinforcing a version of yourself that no longer serves you. You must now become intentional. You must now choose your words as if they are sacred, because they are. You must now declare, I am powerful, I am abundant, I am unstoppable, not as hopeful wishes, but as undeniable truths. And you must hold on to these truths, even when the world tries to convince you otherwise, because the world is not the cause, you are. The world is simply the effect. And once you shift the cause, the effect will shift on its own. So today, right now in this moment, you decide. You decide who you are. You decide what reality you step into. You decide what words you will allow to shape your future. The choice is yours, as it has always been. The only question is, what do you choose? I am. These two words hold the key to everything you will ever experience. They are not just words. They are not just a way to describe yourself. They are the most powerful declaration you will ever make, because whatever follows I am is shaping your identity, your reality, your future. And most people use them unconsciously. They say, I am tired, I am unlucky, I am struggling, without realizing they are reinforcing those states, instructing the subconscious to make them more real, embedding them deeper into their existence. They assume they are merely stating facts. But what they do not realize is that they are making declarations. Declarations the universe must obey. You have been speaking your life into existence from the moment you learned how to form words. Every limitation, every breakthrough, every repeated pattern has come from what you have accepted as your identity. And here is where it gets even deeper. It is not just what you say out loud. It is the silent, unspoken I am that dictates the energy you walk with. The hidden beliefs, the assumptions you don't even question, the things you don't say but constantly think, those are shaping you just as much, if not more, than the words that leave your lips. And the mistake most people make is believing that their I am statements are descriptions of what is. They think they are just observing reality, when in truth, they are creating it. They look at their current circumstances and say, I am struggling, and then they wonder why things never change. They look at their past failures and say, I am not good enough, and then they wonder why they keep hitting the same walls. But what they don't realize is that every I am they accept and repeat becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The subconscious mind is always listening, always shaping, always aligning reality to match what it has been told to believe. This is why Neville Goddard taught that assumption hardens into fact, not sometimes, not maybe, always. Because assumption is not just about what you wish to be true, it is about what you claim as already true. And whatever you persist in assuming, whatever you keep repeating, whatever you refuse to let go of, will solidify into your lived experience. And this is where most people get it wrong. They make a new declaration. They say, I am successful, or I am abundant. But then they check for proof. They look at their bank account, their relationships, their current reality. And when they don't see immediate evidence, they go back to their old declarations. I am struggling. I am broke. I am stuck. And the moment they do that, they undo everything. They reinforce the very reality they are trying to change. You must understand this. The external world is not where change begins. It is where change ends. The cause is always internal. It starts with what you assume, what you declare, what you persist in, regardless of what your five senses tell you. This is why Neville said you must live in the end. You must claim it as done before it is done. You must walk as if, think as if, feel as if the new reality is already yours. Because it is. The moment you say, I am, and you mean it, the shift has already happened. The only thing left is for reality to catch up. And here is where most people fail. They react. They say, I am wealthy, and then they get a bill in the mail and immediately they go back to I am struggling. They say, I am loved, but when they feel lonely, they go back to I am unworthy. They do not realize that they are bouncing between identities, never staying in one long enough for it to materialize. The ones who master this, the ones who truly shift, are the ones who refuse to be moved by temporary appearances. They declare their I am and they hold it no matter what. They do not look for proof. They do not question. They do not let old circumstances dictate what they believe. They assume the new reality and they persist in it until the world bends to match it. This is why your words are sacred. They are not just sounds. They are not just habits. They are the blueprint of your life. And if you do not choose them carefully, you will keep reinforcing versions of yourself that you no longer wish to be. You will keep recycling the same experiences, the same struggles, the same limitations, because you have not taken control of the one thing that has been shaping everything, your identity. But now you know. And once you know, you cannot unknow. Once you understand the power of I am, you can never again say I am unlucky or I am not good enough without realizing the damage you are doing. You can never again speak against yourself, because you will know that every word is a command, every phrase is a law, every statement is a seed that will eventually bear fruit. So the question now is, what will you choose? What identity will you claim? What story will you write with your words? Because the truth is, it is all up to you. You are not trapped by your past. You are not defined by your circumstances. You are only bound by the words you continue to affirm. If you want to change your life, you must change your declarations. If you want to break free, you must stop reinforcing an identity that does not serve you. If you want to step into abundance, into love, into power, you must speak as if you are already there. Not wishfully, not someday, now. And here's the most important part: you do not need permission. You do not need external validation. You do not need the world to agree before you claim what is yours. The only thing required is your decision, your willingness to persist, your refusal to go back, because reality is not separate from you. It is waiting for you. It is waiting for a command. It is waiting for you to decide who you are. So decide, declare it, step into it, and refuse to let anything shake you from it. Because once you do, once you claim it with absolute certainty, the world has no choice but to catch up. The only question left is, who are you ready to become? I am. These two words are the foundation of your existence, the blueprint of your reality, the force that shapes everything you experience. Whether you have realized it or not, every time you speak, think, or feel an I am statement, you are commanding the universe to confirm it. You are not just identifying with something, You are becoming it. And the truth is, most people have been unknowingly programming themselves into limitation, reinforcing struggles and manifesting obstacles, all because they have never been taught the power of their own words. They say, "I am tired, I am unlucky, I am not good enough," and then wonder why they remain stuck, why things never seem to change, why life keeps handing them the same problems wrapped in different disguises. But it is not life that is doing this. It is them. It is their own unconscious declarations shaping their world, keeping them locked in patterns they do not even realize they have chosen. Neville Goddard taught that "I am" is not just a phrase. It is creation itself. It is the direct link between you and the infinite, the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the force that molds reality according to your assumption. And the mistake most people make is assuming based on their past, based on their circumstances, based on what their five senses tell them. They look at what is and use it to define what will be. But that is not how manifestation works. That is not how reality bends. If you continue to define yourself by what you see now, you will continue to experience more of the same. But if you dare to declare something different, if you dare to say, "I am," to something greater before the world confirms it, you will unlock a power that has been hidden from you all along. Everything in your life has been a reflection of the identity you have claimed, knowingly or unknowingly. Every success, every failure, every struggle, every breakthrough, it all started with an "I am." And if you want to change your life, you must first change the way you speak about yourself. You cannot say, "I am always struggling," and expect ease. You cannot say, "I am bad with money," and expect abundance. You cannot say, "I am unworthy," and expect love. The universe is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you are. And what you are is defined by what you declare. This is why so many people feel stuck. They are trying to change their lives while reinforcing the same old identity. They say they want abundance, but they continue to speak lack. They say they want love, but they continue to claim loneliness. They say they want success, but their internal conversation is filled with doubt, and they do not realize that by doing this they are keeping themselves locked in a cycle. The subconscious does not argue, it does not question, it simply accepts what it is told over and over until it becomes the truth. And so, if you continue to say "I am" to things that do not serve you, the subconscious will do everything in its power to make sure you remain that way. But just as words have kept you trapped, words can set you free. Just as you have unknowingly spoken limitation into existence, you can now consciously speak power into existence. And the shift begins the moment you decide. The moment you refuse to attach "I am" to anything that does not align with the life you wish to create. The moment you stop reacting to the present and start declaring the future. The moment you stop looking at circumstances for validation and start using your words as a tool to shape them. But here's the part that most people get wrong. They make a declaration once, maybe twice, and then they wait. They wait for proof. They wait for signs. They wait for the world to change before they commit to believing it. And when things don't shift immediately, they go right back to the old identity. They say, "I am confident," but when self-doubt creeps in, they revert to "I am insecure." They say, "I am wealthy," but when a bill comes, they go back to "I am struggling." They do not realize that by doing this, they are undoing everything. They are bouncing between two realities, never allowing one to fully solidify. The ones who truly transform, the ones who master the art of manifestation, are the ones who refuse to be moved by what they see. They are the ones who declare, "I am successful," and hold on to that truth, even when circumstances say otherwise. They are the ones who say, "I am healthy," even when they feel pain. They are the ones who say, "I am powerful," even when fear tries to convince them otherwise. And because they persist, because they do not waver, because they do not let the old reality dictate their new one, the shift becomes inevitable. The world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match the new identity. This is what it means to live in the end, to decide now, to claim it now, to say, "I am," and refuse to entertain any thought, any doubt, any evidence that contradicts it. Because the moment you do, You are no longer waiting for change, you are the change. And reality must catch up. But you must be willing to let go of the old. You must be willing to release every I am that no longer serves you. You must be willing to stop speaking limitations into existence, even as a joke, even casually, even as an automatic response. Because the subconscious does not know the difference. It only knows repetition. And whatever you repeat, you will become. So the question is, what are you repeating? What words have you been using to define yourself? And more importantly, what words will you choose from this moment forward? Because now you know the truth. Now you understand the power. Now you can never again say, I am unlucky or I am not good enough, without realizing what you are doing. Now, every time you speak, you will hear yourself. You will catch yourself. You will know that you are making a choice. So choose wisely. Choose powerfully. Choose intentionally. Because whatever you say after I am, the universe will say yes to. It will not question you, it will not challenge you, it will not doubt you, it will simply reflect back exactly what you believe. So who do you choose to be? What reality do you choose to create? What version of yourself are you ready to step into? Because the decision is yours, it has always been yours. And the moment you claim it, the moment you declare it with absolute certainty, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. You are always one I am away from an entirely new reality. The only thing left to do is declare it. I am. 2 words that have shaped your entire life, whether you realized it or not. 2 words that have built your identity, designed your experiences, and dictated what you allow yourself to have, to be, to do. Every time you speak them, every time you think them, you are sending a direct command to the universe, to your subconscious mind, to the field of infinite possibility that surrounds you. You are instructing reality to match the vibration of whatever follows, and yet most people have been using these words against themselves their entire lives. They have been declaring struggle, affirming lack, reinforcing limitations, all without realizing they were the ones keeping those things alive. They have said, I am always unlucky. I am not good enough. I am struggling. And then they wonder why life continues to reflect those very words back to them. But it is not life that is against them. It is their own unconscious declarations shaping a world that mirrors exactly what they assume to be true. And the truth is, most people don't realize they are doing this. They don't realize that every I am is a doorway, either opening up to expansion or locking them into a cycle of struggle. They don't realize that the subconscious mind does not filter their words, it simply obeys. If you keep saying, I am broke, your subconscious will make sure you stay in financial struggle. If you keep saying, I am bad with relationships, you will keep attracting the same toxic pattern. If you keep saying, I am always sick, your body will respond accordingly. This is not a theory. This is not superstition. This is the law of assumption in action. This is how reality works, and the moment you become conscious of it, the moment you truly understand the power of your words, you can never again speak about yourself carelessly. Neville Goddard taught that I am is not just a phrase. It is the name of God, the divine creative force that shapes all things. It is the most sacred declaration you can make, because whatever follows it, you become. This is why he taught that you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hope for it, not wish for it. Assume it, live in the end, speak it as if it is already done. Because the moment you claim it with conviction, the shift begins. The universe starts moving in your favor. Opportunities arise, circumstances change. Not because anything outside of you has power over you, but because you have finally decided who you are, and the world has no choice but to conform. But here is where most people fail. They make a new declaration. They say, I am successful, or I am confident, or I am abundant, but then they check for proof. They wait to see if anything changes, and when they don't see immediate evidence, they go right back to their old declarations. They look at their bank account and say, I am still broke. They feel a moment of doubt and say, I am not good enough. They get discouraged and say, I am stuck. And in that moment they undo everything. They revert back to their past identity. not realizing that the only thing keeping the old story alive is their continued agreement with it. Reality does not shift when you ask for change. Reality shifts when you become the change, when you refuse to speak against yourself, when you no longer entertain any thought that contradicts the new identity you have chosen. This is why Neville said that persistence is key. You must persist in the new assumption no matter what. You must hold on to your new I am, even when circumstances tempt you to return to the old. Because if you react to what is, if you let the external world dictate your internal state, you are only reinforcing the past. But if you declare a new identity and refuse to waver, if you stand firm in the knowing that reality must obey the laws of consciousness, then transformation becomes inevitable. And this is where most people struggle. They feel like they are lying to themselves. They say, I am successful, but they don't feel successful. They say, I am loved, but they still feel alone. They say, I am healthy, but their body still hurts. And so they abandon the new assumption because it feels fake. But the truth is, the only reason it feels fake is because they have spent years reinforcing the opposite. They have spent years declaring I am statements that did not serve them. And the only way to shift that is through repetition, through unwavering persistence, through refusing to give power to the old identity, no matter how convincing it seems. You must ask yourself, what have you been repeating? What I am statements have you accepted without question? And more importantly, what will you choose from this moment forward? Because now you know the truth. Now you understand that every time you speak, you are giving life to something. Every time you declare I am, you are making a choice. And if you do not take control of this process, if you do not become intentional with your words, then you will continue to live in the reality created by your unconscious declarations. But the moment you decide, the moment you take full responsibility for your words, the shift begins. You start saying, I am powerful, and you refuse to contradict it. You start saying, I am worthy, and you no longer accept any thought that tells you otherwise. You start saying, I am abundant, and you hold on to that truth even when evidence tries to suggest the opposite. Because you understand that reality is not created in the external world, it is created within, and once the internal shifts, the external must follow. This is how you reprogram your mind. This is how you break the cycle. Not through force, not through struggle, but through conscious declaration, through speaking only what you wish to experience, through refusing to affirm anything you do not want to manifest. Because the universe is always listening. Your subconscious is always recording, your reality is always responding, and it will always, without exception, reflect back the identity you claim. So claim wisely, speak intentionally, declare only what serves you, because from this moment forward you can no longer say, I am unlucky without realizing what you are doing. You can no longer say, I am not good enough without knowing that you are the one reinforcing that story. You can no longer speak against yourself without feeling the weight of those words, because now you know. Now you are aware, and once you are aware, you have no choice but to take responsibility for the reality you create. So ask yourself right now, who do you choose to be? What reality do you choose to claim? What words will you use to define yourself from this moment forward? Because whatever you decide, whatever you declare, whatever you attach to I am, will become your truth. Not because the universe is testing you, not because you have to earn it, but because you have spoken it, you have assumed it, you have become it. And once you become it, the world has no choice but to reflect it back to you. You are always one declaration away from an entirely new reality. The only thing left to do is say the words and refuse to look back. I am. These two words have always been the key, the force shaping everything you see, everything you feel, everything you experience. And now, at this moment, you are standing at a crossroads. You can continue reinforcing the same identity, carrying the same limitations, speaking the same words that have kept you bound to old realities, or you can make a new declaration. You can decide right now that you will never again speak against yourself. You can decide right now that you will never again affirm anything you do not wish to experience. You can decide right now that from this day forward you will only declare what aligns with the highest, most powerful, most abundant version of yourself. Because now you know. You know that every I am is a choice. You know that every word is a command. You know that the universe, your subconscious, and reality itself are listening to every declaration you make. And because you know this, you can never again speak carelessly. You can never again joke about your limitations. You can never again casually claim struggle, hardship, or failure without being fully aware that you are choosing to give it life. And when you fully accept that responsibility, when you fully take control of your words, you will realize that the power has always been in your hands. This is where your transformation begins. Not in the future, not when circumstances change, not when the world gives you permission, but now, in this moment, with your next words, with your next thought, with your next breath. Because everything you desire is already waiting for you. The version of you who is thriving, who is confident, who is abundant, who is limitless. That version is not separate from you. It is not something you have to chase. It is not something that exists far away. It is here, it is now, and the only thing standing between you and stepping into that reality is your willingness to claim it as already done. So what will you say? What will you declare? Who will you become? Because whatever you decide in this moment is what you will experience. Whatever you persist in is what will take shape. And if you refuse to waver, if you refuse to look back, if you refuse to ever again claim anything that does not align with the greatness that is already within you, then nothing in this world can stop you. The shift is already happening. The reality is already forming. The only thing left is for you to step into it, and when you do, when you finally speak your truth with absolute certainty, the world will have no choice but to say yes. It will have no choice but to align. It will have no choice but to reflect back exactly what you have always been. Because in the end, you were never waiting for reality to change. Reality was always waiting for you to decide.